Hey, Glenn here with Fat Cat Scooter, and today we're going to do an overview of the Vespa 300s. Just a simple walk around. I just bought this beautiful 2012 Vespa 300 here from my brother who lives out in San Diego. So I wanted to do a video really for everybody, just a simple walk around to explain this bike to you. This is my personal 300 GTS. It's a 2009, I believe. Virtually many of the things are the same, even from the 250s to 300. Again, just an overview of what to expect when you have these bikes if you're new to Vespas. First of all, this particular bike has a windshield. This did not come stock with it, but an accessory you can easily find online. Something to think about if you're in the warmer areas. This really does cut down on your airflow, so you need to decide if that's something you want to do. Up here on this particular model, there's a running light that will turn on the whole time that the lights are on. Something interesting about the Vespa that I think is a good safety feature is as you turn it, the headlight follows you. Of course, you have your side view mirrors. These are adjustable. If these come loose, I believe they tighten opposite with the wrench. But one thing to pay attention to is you might want to put a rag or a towel down and be real gentle. When you tighten it, you're going to go one way with the wrench and the other way with the mirror, and that's how you're going to tighten it up. But you don't want to scratch up this plastic. Or the wheels and tire pressure, I check them every week. I tell people at the minimum check them every 2 weeks. Small tires, it doesn't take a lot of low air pressure to cause issues, so make sure to check that. In fact, if you go back here on the bike and with the key in and you press forward on the button, you're going to see that there is a glove box here, and inside the glove box, very important, this is the PSI for your tires. So do make sure to check that out and make sure you have a good tire pressure gauge, and at least once a week you should test the pressure. Just above it, it looks like a little speaker cover, but it actually takes a hex screw. If you unscrew that, if I recall correctly, that's where your water level is going to be. These are liquid cooled, so you want to check that out. Your owner's manual will have the correct level. I find that you don't have to check it that often, but once a month or so, if you're just doing a safety check, I'd just take a quick look. What we have here is we have the running lights or the headlights. There's a high beam and a low beam. To start up, you have to have one of the brakes depressed, or it's not going to start. You want to turn the key. You want to make sure the red button is in run mode, which is the circle, and then you want to press the start button. And that's how you start it up. I want to show you the blinkers here. For the right blinkers, left for the left blinkers. What's very important is you press it in the middle to shut it off. Unlike a car, they don't shut off automatically. Here you have a low beam and a high beam. They're not switching now because it has to be running to do that, but that's right here is your low beam and your high beam. Again, below it are the blinkers. And then finally, it's your horn. It's the bottom button. On the instrument panel, and different models are going to have slightly different instrument panels, but on this one, of course, you have your speedometer. Miles per hour are the larger number, and kilometers an hour are the smaller numbers. You have a fuel gauge. It's fairly accurate. I always tell people, don't let it go too low, and I personally like to put in premium gasoline, but that's something you should look up in your owner's manual. The temperature gauge, at least I find on every scooter I ride, the temperature sits in a different position, but on this particular bike, when it's at normal temperature, it's sitting right in the middle between the red and the black line. You have an engine light. You'll see that come on when it's doing a diagnostic, when it's checking, and of course the fuel gauge, and you'll need to check your manual, but I believe there's somewhere between 10 and 20 miles worth of fuel left when that fuel light comes on. So when that fuel light comes on, it's time to stop. The green light up here is your running light, and when it's running, the light next to it, the blue light, is your high beam light, an indicator. And of course, we're all familiar with an oil light. When it's just sitting on with the key turned but the engine's not running, it'll be red. If that light comes on when you're running, my suggestion is to get it to a shop immediately stop running it. This front is access to the horn. You should never have to go in there, but that's where it does sit. This is just an ornamental here, and then we have reflectors here. These vents are the vents for radiator cooling, so you always want to make sure those are clear. If you do have a passenger, there are pegs on either side that pull out right here. I think this is aftermarket. Again, I bought this bike used. You do have a side stand. What's very important about this is a couple things. You know, I just use it if I need to put the bike down real quickly. It has a center stand, we'll talk about that, but I believe these are aftermarket on this particular bike. What happens is if you let go, you'll see they go up automatically. The problem with that is if you don't put it down on a good angle, the bike could lurch forward. This one has, again, I believe it's aftermarket, does not have a kill switch, meaning you can start the bike on the side stand, and if you hit the throttle, it'll go forward and fall off the stand. So just something to be very aware of and careful about. The bike does have disc brakes, as you can see up here. And I believe some of the newer models actually have anti-lock brakes. Your front suspension there, that's where your brake pads are. This button here is the unlock to the seat. So if you press it, you'll hear that click. You'll lift it up, and there's the under of your seat. Right here is a cover for the seat. So if you're going to leave it out in the sun for a while, or if it's going to be raining, you pull out this. It's basically a plastic cover, and it goes over the seat. This sticker that says "No Pets" is on pretty much every Vespa, I think, for many years. You don't obviously want to put pets in there. So this tub, as you can see, is pretty big. It'll easily fit a half helmet, maybe a 3/4 helmet, maybe 2 half helmets. And just so you know, this lifts up. And that's your engine compartment there. So access to do some work in there. Along here is information about your bike. Well, this is very important. Your VIN number is right here along the back underneath the seat, as well as the color of your bike. There are tabs here. And these tabs, when you have the container here, at least what I use them for, is you put the metal hook of your helmet on it, and you can secure, it's another place to secure a helmet if you carefully put it there. Over here is our gasoline. Again, I use premium, but check your manual. This is very important. It's extremely easy to overfill these scooters. Almost 100% of these times on this body style, the Vespa, you're gonna overfill it. So what I suggest you do, but you know, for safety reasons, it's gonna be up to you, because you know, you don't wanna get gas on the engine. What I do is I'll take this cap, and I'll put it under the seat like that, so fuel doesn't go into the container. This is basically part of the frame. So you do not want to get this dented. Not only is it unattractive, but it can be unsafe if this really gets hit in bad, because it's part of the structure of the bike. So be very careful moving your bike around. Be careful, of course, not to drop it. And you can get crash bars. I think that's what my brother's going to do on this one, is you can't get crash bars. So people get confused on how to do this or intimidated by it. So let me show you how I do it, in my opinion. I'll put the brake on for a second, and what you do is you step on the side stand on the left side of the bike, get it centered, let go of the brake, then use your weight, a little bit of weight, just a little bit of weight, and it'll pop right over. So this right here is the oil fill. Obviously you want to be between those lines. You don't want to be above the top line, but check your manual, because some dipsticks are different, some models are different, but on this particular one, you run the engine with this cap on, let it heat up a little bit, a few minutes is fine, let it drain, do this on the center stand, and then pull it out, wipe it off, put it back in straight, and then there's a lot of threads to it, so it takes a little finesse to get used to it. But on this, every bike is different, again check, but on this particular model, you actually screw the oil cap here, the fill cap, all the way back in, and then you take it out to check it. So it has to be all the way down deep in. On other bikes, I know some Hondas that I've had, some scooters, you actually just place it in, you don't screw it in. Very important to read the manual. And this is engine access to your engine here, motor for the bike. The filters over here, again you have some reflectors, And by the way, a lot of these parts, like these reflectors, if you ever have a problem with them, they break off, you can get them replaced. The back tire has a disc brake as well, and please do make sure to check tire pressure. You want to check the treads on the front tire and the back tire. You'll find the back tire on these, you know, they're unlike cars. They wear much faster. They're much smaller tires. This particular bike has a beautiful top case with a backrest in case you do have a passenger, and top case is straightforward. The top case is great for fitting a helmet in there or whatever you want to carry. So coming around to the other side of the bike, we have the exhaust. You always want to make sure it's nice and clear. We have the, just like on your car, you have a light underneath your license plate. You always want to make sure that's working. Most Vespas will have this case here. It flips up, by the way. It's on a spring, so there's a little piece of plastic that they sell at the dealerships that'll hold it down. This is a bar for someone on the back if they want to hold on to it. Here's the other foot stand for the back passenger. Now these rubber strips are to protect the base where your feet go when you're sitting down. On most Vespas, and even a lot of the Piaggios, this right here is a grocery bag holder, so it pulls out and you can put your grocery bag holder there. I believe on this unit, this case opens up and this is where you can check your fluid levels on your brakes. Basically, there's a built-in security system, so if someone doesn't have a key or someone tries to steal a Vespa, it kills the system and makes it virtually impossible to get them running. What's in all the way to the left here, the handlebar is locked. And that's an overview of the Vespa 300.